I would recommend you learn to identify NATO, Soviet, and Chinese. NATO includes American. Look it up. Heavy armor tanks, helicopters, fighters, bombers, troop transports, biological response units, nuke response units, and chemical response units. It wouldn't hurt for you to be able to discern an armed and unarmed fixed or rotary wing aircraft. It wouldn't hurt for you to realize the capabilities of some of the armor that is mobile, the personnel carriers, and learn to try to get a quick count of personnel. And if you think you're going to go square off toe-to-toe against a company or a battalion or brigade, you're insane. This is not going to be the Revolutionary War your forefathers fought in. It's not going to be the American Civil War, and it sure as hell isn't going to be World War II. This is going to be you going up against violent civilians, violent mercenaries, foreign troops, UN troops, and what remains of the U.S. personnel that follow the orders. And some won't. I'll speak about that. No, I'm going to speak about it now. When I had to make sustainable threat assessments, you take the known capabilities into the threat assessment. You don't sit there and guess and roll dice and contemplate how many you think won't take the orders. How many military and how many police will stand down, run off, leave, or call their superiors and officers out. That can get you killed. Make your threat assessments based on the known capabilities, the known numbers. Look it up. This is your duty, not mine. I know this. And hope that as many military and as many police officers as possible will not comply. They will leave. They will abandon. They will not engage. There will be some you don't know. I hear insanity of people putting numbers out. You don't know. You don't. These people haven't been placed in that, nor have you. There will be, hopefully, many military and police say no. No. But there will be some. You don't know the numbers of either side. They have contingency plans to take military and police personnel, families, in so-called safe locations. Yeah, they're going to be safe until they say no at sometimes. They'll use fear. They'll use their families against them, and they're also most likely will have what's been used in other countries in history. Executioners in some units if you don't go along with the program. It could get that nasty. And my point in saying this is, realistically, there will be troops and police officers that will not agree to this. There will be some that do. Don't get anal and obsessive about trying to find a number. That really doesn't matter at that point, because there will be enough to keep you busy. Have you read the United States Army field manuals? They're online. They're on the internet. While you still have access and time, find the appropriate manuals. Hell, there are hundreds of manuals. I'm not going to tell you which one. I don't know your situation. And don't be asking me to sort through that massive library or what I have and tell you what to read and apply. It's not about reading. It's about applying the information. That's the difference between those who live and die or perish. Applying the information for all of this. Find the manuals. If you're in the cities or going to remain in a dense populated, find the urban response manuals for the military. Find the unconventional or non-conventional guerrilla warfare response manuals. Find what you think, the chemical, the biological, find what fits what you believe will help you and your family best. That's your duty. Now, fearless men can be fearless warriors. Bottom line. Fearless men can be fearless warriors. You don't have to have fear to know there's danger. You don't have to live in a fear. I'm not going to live in a fear, and I'm not going to tolerate it being induced in my unit. I'm not going to attack you if you're afraid, but don't attack me because you're afraid. Fear, I've already said, will get you killed. Deal with it now. Resolve it. Learn to control it now. Now, Are you aware that orders and directives can be issued under the international agreements from uniformed security personnel such as military and civilian law enforcement under martial law, that they can use deadly force against civilians for carrying firearms in public? Shoot to kill at times can be issued to units through international agreements. If someone is seen in public or seen in possession of firearms, if you can be deemed a hostile combatant, enemy combatant, an insurgent. Typically and historically, you had typical warfare. You had opposing nations, opposing armies, and discernible uniforms, patches, and emblems identifying the enemy. However, today warfare has involved military operations fighting guerrilla warfare. Typically, look what happened in Operation Desert Storm. Some of you over there, most all of you have seen the footage. Iraq at the time was not a weak military operation. Look what happened with the technology and a unprecedented amount of personnel mobilized and deployed. They overran them. Look what happens now when a country's invaded by superior forces and superior technology. It fragments soon, at some time, into the uniformed personnel blend in with the civilians. They merge in and become insurrectionists. Some civilians join in with them. It becomes guerrilla warfare. And they will issue at some point, most likely, if it develops in the United States and North America, directives that don't think it's just because you're in city clothes, civilian clothes, that you can't get capped, because they may order it. If you are in a hostile zone and there are combatants and resistance, don't be surprised. And if you think you're going to go put your camis, your camouflage on, that may get you capped too. It depends on the command, the structure, and the resistance they're meeting. And I'm going to say this, you probably will see the most effective way of dealing with these mercenaries, these United Nations foreign troops, for example, is not squaring off face to face with superior technology, firepower, and personnel. Small units, people, hit and run. You plan the time and place, have at least 3 evasive retreats. The longer you engage these forces, the more you're in risk for destruction of your unit and your operations, death or capture. Read up on it. I'm not advocating that right now. I'm just telling you, if they start this unconstitutional war and violence, read about how the Vietnam and our Afghanistan is an excellent one. The Irish Republic Army, I believe Rodney Hampton has videos on his about the IRA. These large operations, formal operations, they don't do well on over a long length of time, several years. If you think there's going to be a decisive, quick battle and victory, you're going to most likely you will lose that battle. You'll lose the war. You'll lose the confrontation in a quick, decisive operation. You're in it for the long term, the longevity. Wear them down. If they start this, wear them down, people, over time. Read up on this. That's as far as I'm comfortable speaking about it. For time's sakes, let's come back to the swine flu in a future video, and I'll put this over here. Okay. Let's start another video.